you need to take care of this stuff. It's not built to be durable. None of this stuff is cast iron.
Speaking of durability,
to let your kids play.
one of the best things you can do for your lens is put a lens filter on it, a UV or just a clear piece of glass.
Yeah, that's true.
Because if you scratch this, you throw it away, you buy a new one.
And they're a couple bucks.
You can spend more. Really, there's a lot of argument about which is better. Really, they're almost all the same.
Yeah.
A couple circular polarizers that are better than others. But I've read, I've never scratched one, fortunately, but I've read so many stories where, like, because I do a lot of outdoor photography and climbing and so forth, where you'd be shooting up at a climber, and the guy had a piece of ice come down and shatter his lens. Well, he thought he shattered his lens, just broke his UV filter, and took that off, was back to shooting in minutes, and didn't touch the glass at all. So what would you rather scratch?
I've done that a long time ago when I was in college. I was in a tiny room. Camera's on a tripod. It had a little filter on the front, and I bumped the tripod with my foot, and that thing went straight down. The thing landed face first. I mean, it landed like that on the ground. I heard it go just crack. And I thought, that lens is shot. And I picked it up, and all that had broken was the little filter. I unscrewed it.
That's probably the best investment I've ever come across, is just putting a filter on it.
Yeah.
But I haven't had to use it. You have. That's great.
Yeah. It worked out.
Which, speaking of filters, I held back on buying this lens for a while because you cannot put a filter on this because the spherical element on the front.
Right.
And they even have, like, this thing's threaded. I thought that'd be a great idea to thread this thing, and you could probably get something out there. No, you got to buy this Lee filter system that goes on over this thing, and it's like $300.
Oh, jeez.
So that's actually the weakness of this lens is its incompatibility with filters. For landscape photographers, filtering is like second nature. Well, I'm kind of a new age. I in that respect, I'm not a traditional landscape photographer. I do like multiple shots. I use post processing to combine them. It didn't seem like a big loss to me. I'll just take another darker image and expose the background like I need to.
Yeah, and you can a lot of these lenses like this one, and we have a fisheye here. Where's our
Oh, good, you have the fisheye.
Yeah, here's the fisheye. This is a 10 millimeter, I think.
That's a 9.
Is it a 9?
9.
Okay.
Good God.
That's 10.
Oh, it's a 10. Okay.
It's a 10 2.8 fisheye.
Is that for the smaller sensor?
Yes, unfortunately this is.
Here's the thing that I've recently came across is that you can actually take a lathe or a hacksaw and cut these petals off, and it will work with a full frame. Yeah, several of these lenses, and I'm pretty sure
the problem is actually this one won't because of the back. The whole the back sides of these are much too small.
Okay.
And that's the problem. You're always going to see this actually on the sensor.
On the sensor itself.
Yeah,
because there's a Tokina that if you because I was this guy Nigel, he's a WVU professor. He had like the D4, which is like a $6,000 camera, and I had my little Tokina fisheye on there, and he's like, "Oh, that's a great lens. It'll work on an FX. You just throw it on a lathe and cut the petals off." I'm like, "Oh, thanks, Nigel. I'll just throw my $600 lens on a lathe."
Maybe he's one of the guys that's like, "This isn't a very durable lens."
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah,
I couldn't put it on my lathe and chop it off. But again, you're talking about damage to the front element on those lenses. You know how much you paid for that, so you're not. You're going to be extra careful with that.
Yeah, it's all an investment. You have to think of it as an investment. Like I always have bought these things with money I technically don't have. I don't advise doing that, but I do photography on the side for a business, and that's you got to kind of look at what if you're just doing it for hobby stuff, then you may not want to always get the fastest prime lens there is. I mean, kit lenses are great, but as far as if you really want the best your photography can, you really want to drop almost twice as much on a lens than you spend on your camera. And that's the first time in my life I've taken my own advice. I've been dishing that advice around. And I finally did that.
Yeah, actually, for a long time, I basically was working with this lens, which is a 55 to 250. But I mean, it's
a cool looking lens.
It's all right. All right, the pictures were fine.
Yeah,
they were pretty good. But we got the 24 to 70. And all of a sudden my pictures looked sharper.
Look real,
cleaner.
Like a real photographer.
Yeah,
now.
It just looked. You could tell. Like my skills hadn't changed, but the images looked better.
No, that's totally it. I had a friend when I was she was actual wedding photographer. I was just helping her. She had a 24 to 70 Nikon. Threw it on my camera, and instantly I was an amazing photographer. Yeah. I already thought I was good, but the lens really changed it.
It makes a big difference when you have good equipment.
We're talking about buying expensive equipment, not buying expensive equipment, protecting your expensive equipment.
Yeah.
I think one of the most important things we should talk about is whether you're spending a ton of money or not, it's still your money. If you're buying an $1,800 lens or a $200 lens and you start accumulating this stuff, go get insurance.
Yeah.
Insurance on this stuff is really not that bad. You can generally get, I would say, somewhere around $5,000 worth of coverage for about $50 a year.
Really?
You'd be crazy
Wow.
not to spend
I didn't know that.
$50 a year to cover $5,000 worth of your equipment.
Totally. I
You know
should
what
have
I
done that.
Yeah.
So the insurance is not.
I lost a camera recently.
Yeah.
With the camera's not so much the loss, even though it was it was literally it was almost as much as this camera was years and years ago.
Right.
Yeah.
But the lens on it had appreciated. It was with my taking a fisheye. But yeah, great advice.
So yeah, definitely get insurance. Talk to your insurance agent. The same people that cover your homeowner's insurance or renter's insurance. And yeah, it's extremely cheap. You can work out, I'm sure, cheaper policies if you have $1,000 worth of equipment or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think $5,000 is roughly around $50. So it's definitely
that's
worth
good.
it.
for $50. If you lose,
I'm gonna-
if you lost $100 worth of equipment,
Yeah.
it would be worth it.
It pays for itself, right?
Yeah, it would. Tell them about your experience with Craigslist and losing equipment and getting scammed. So people don't get scammed like you did. Well, you didn't
Yeah.
actually get scammed, but you could have.
Well, I did get scammed.
You did, but you didn't actually pay the guy, did you?
No, I did.
You did
Remember?
pay- oh, you did?
Yeah, I totally. So I
Oh.
lost my camera. Posted the fact that I lost it online. Got a call from a guy in Topeka, Kansas. Said he was a trucker, and that he was sold my camera for $120. And while he was coming through, wife said it was too good to be true. So he looked it up, found me. And so he called me. So I talked to this guy for like an hour. He told me about his wife, told me these great things. Just get me back for the money he paid for it, and shipping, and wire him the money because he's coming through. He's a trucker. He's coming through this area.
Right.
And I even knew, I was like, I knew this was a scam, but I was just so happy for the potential to get my camera and lenses. I had 2 lenses in that bag back. I was like, it's worth $200 to get $1,200 worth of gear back, and so I did that. And as soon as I called him to get the tracking number, the number was disconnected, gone, $200. So though fortunately, a week after that, I won a competition.
That's right, you
and
did.
and it was a really nice piece of software. So my mom was like, if you look at it like this, you sold your camera to buy the software. I'm
Yeah.
like, great, Mom,
That's-
thanks. That's good
Yeah,
advice.
I guess, yeah. That's true.
I guess. Thanks.
I mean-
Take me back out of it now. I was like, I'm selling myself on that idea. That's what I did.
Right. So anyway, if you do lose some equipment, don't get scammed by Craigslist.
Be very careful. Ask questions. Ask for like proof of life on anything
Yeah.
that you have that's lost. Don't let them intimidate you. I thought the guy sounded like he was an old trucker and it sounded like what I lost from that wasn't $200. I lost a piece of humanity.
Yeah.
Like 'cause I trusted this person, and so that was the worst thing I got from this was not the hole in the pocket. It was more like it's hard to trust people anymore because it wasn't like he emailed me. It wasn't digital. It was he called me and he talked to me, told me his life story.
Yeah.
It sucked.
Yeah, that sucks. So, yeah.
Cool.
All right. Well, guys, I think that's going to pretty much wrap it up.
Yeah.
We've kind of touched on the basis of a couple things here.
Yeah.
Talking about speed of lenses, the aperture, why some lenses can be exactly the same
Yeah.
or seem the same but cost so much more.
Yeah.
The difference between brands. We even let Gabe bring his Nikon stuff in
Yeah.
here.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
So,
You know.
And I've got to shoot with the Canon stuff on a couple occasions,
That's
and
true.
it's just it's great. It's just all about what you kind of start with, what your
Yeah,
friends
it really
have,
does.
because this is important. Borrowing from friends or renting, that's another great option.
Oh, yeah,
renting.
renting.
Yeah.
Renting
Yeah.
is a great way to test stuff out.
Absolutely.
Especially if you're traveling, because then you don't have to bring it with you. You
Yeah.
don't have to, if you lose it, it's kind of already covered.
No, don't lose it.
Don't lose it.
Don't lose it.
Do not lose it. You have to pay for it.
That's
Really?
true. Yeah.
Yeah, when you rent lenses, that's another thing. And people may not know this because they don't read all the fine print. There is insurance that you can purchase that covers it
If you
if
break
it's
it.
broken.
Okay.
If it's lost, you bought it.
Yeah.
Because
Don't lose it.
which
Don't
which
lose
is a scam preventer, because
Yeah.
I will rent a lens for $200 and then say I
the
lost
insurance.
it.
Yeah, the insurance. We're like, oh, oops. I
And
lost
now
it.
I have an $1,800 lens, so that's the issue
Totally.
with that. So I think that'll wrap it up. If you guys have any questions, think we missed anything, or didn't understand anything, you can leave them in the comments below.
Yeah, and we'll share some pictures of kind of the differences between this lens versus this lens versus this lens.
Right,
Maybe
so you
shoot
guys
the
can get a
same.
better idea of
Yeah.
the prime versus
And this-
variable and
Yeah.
and then the difference between full frame and crop sensor.
Right.
Yeah.
This is in superiority of Nikon.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. All right, guys, thanks.
Thanks for watching.
Thank you.